Dear students, on behalf of Board of Intermediate Education, Andhra Pradesh, I am back here with a new chapter of human physiology, that is body fluids and circulation. In this class, we are continuing the topic working of heart. In our previous session, we have learned the details of three main phases of cardiac cycle. The sequence of events occurring in a single heartbeat is the cardiac cycle. When the heart is in relaxed state, blood from different regions of the body reaches the atria. Blood from the lungs reaches the left atrium. Blood from all other organs reaches the right atrium through vena cava and coronary sinus. Then AV valves, this tricuspid valve and bicuspid valve are in open condition. So blood from atria enters the respective ventricles. At this stage, SA node sends action potentials. When those action potentials spread over the atria, both the atria contract, pumping the blood forcefully into the ventricles. This contraction of atria, the atrial systole, lasts for about 0.1 second. Next phase is ventricular systole. When the action potentials reach the ventricular musculature through AV node and bundle of His and Purkinje fibers, both the ventricles contract, pumping the blood into aortic arches. Before the beginning of ventricular systole, the AV valves, this is tricuspid valve and this is bicuspid valve, they get closed, producing the first heart sound lull. When the ventricles contract, the pressure inside the ventricles increases. It causes the opening of the semilunar valves. The blood from ventricles flows into aortic arches. The blood from left ventricle flows into systemic arch. Blood from right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood from right ventricle, flows into pulmonary arch. After pumping the blood into aortic arches, both the ventricles relax. So the decreased ventricular pressure causes the closure of semilunar valves, preventing the backward flow of blood. The closure of semilunar valves produces the second heart sound, dup. Then the heart enters into complete cardiac diastole and another cardiac cycle begins. After this brief recap of cardiac cycle, let's now discuss the cardiac output. What is cardiac output? How much blood our heart pumps in 1 minute is called cardiac output. What is the basic function of our heart? It pumps the blood through the process of heart beating and it maintains the flow of blood throughout the body. Our blood carries oxygen and nutrients to all the cells and takes away the waste materials like carbon dioxide. If heart pumps too little or too much blood through our body, it could be a sign of heart problems or heart failure. So it has to maintain specific quantity of flow of blood throughout the body. The volume of blood pumped out from each ventricle per minute is called cardiac output. It is calculated by multiplying the stroke volume with heart rate. It is a product of stroke volume and heart rate. So the two components influencing the cardiac output are stroke volume and heart rate. What is stroke volume? The volume of blood pumped out by each ventricle in every heartbeat is known as stroke volume. After every heartbeat, the blood is pumped out of the heart into aortic arches. Here the ventricles are the pumping chambers of heart. These ventricles pump blood into aortic arches. After ventricular systole, left ventricle pumps blood into systemic arch and right ventricle is pumping into pulmonary arch. After every heartbeat, each ventricle pumps certain quantity of blood into aortic arch. That value is known as stroke volume. It is about 70 milliliters per heartbeat. The left ventricle in every systole pumps 70 milliliters of blood into systemic arch. That means 70 milliliters of blood is kept in circulation after every heartbeat throughout our body. So 70 milliliters of blood, that is nothing but the stroke volume. It is coming out of the heart after every heartbeat. The second component of cardiac output is heart rate. It is the number of heartbeats per minute. Our heart beats continuously and rhythmically throughout our lifetime. So the number of heartbeats per minute is known as heart rate. In case of normal healthy adults, the heart rate is 72 times per minute. Do you know when does our heart start beating? Human embryonic heart begins beating at around a month of embryonic development. From that specific time till death, our heart beats continuously. The heart rate varies depending on the age. In newborn babies, it is 130 times per minute on an average. In old people, it is only 60 times per minute. So with the increasing age, the heart rate gradually decreases. Heart rate is also need-based to certain extent. In lying down position, we find slow heart rate. If the body requires more nutrients and oxygen, heart is going to pump faster. That means heart rate increases. Example, during exercise, during fever, and also during emotions like fear and anger, the heart rate increases. Why does the heart rate increase? During exercise, tissues need more energy. More nutrients and oxygen are needed for the production of energy. How can these two, nutrients and oxygen, reach the tissues? That is through circulating blood. How is the blood kept in circulation? It is by the cardiac activity, that is by the heartbeat. Number of heartbeats per minute is known as heart rate. So, increase of heart rate helps in the circulation, faster circulation of blood, thereby providing more nutrients and oxygen to the tissues. During fever, as temperature increases, it affects the pacemaker of heart. Sinoatrial node is affected and the heart rate increases. During emotions, adrenaline hormone increases the heart rate. If you take the heart rate in different animals, smaller animals have higher heart rate, bigger animals have lesser number of heartbeats per minute. For example, whale, 15 heartbeats per minute. In case of elephant, 25 heartbeats per minute. But in case of smaller animal, sparrow, its heart rate is 800 to 900 heartbeats per minute. Why do we find higher heart rates in smaller animals? In case of smaller animals, the metabolic rate is high. As the metabolic rate is more, the smaller animals require more supply of oxygen and nutrients for the production of energy. So their heart has to pump the blood faster. That's why heart rate is higher in case of smaller animals. Now coming back to our actual topic of discussion, cardiac output. It is the volume of blood pumped out by the heart from each ventricle per minute. So cardiac output is equal to stroke volume into number of heartbeats per minute. Stroke volume is the quantity of blood pumped out by each ventricle in every heartbeat. We find 72 heartbeats per minute. So by multiplying these two, we'll get the cardiac output. So cardiac output is equal to stroke volume, that is 70 milliliters, into heart rate, that is 72 beats per minute. We'll get 5040 milliliters per minute. It is approximately 5 liters. So 5 liters of blood is sent out by heart into circulation per every minute. This is the cardiac output. In athletes, it may reach 36 liters per minute. Heart beats both faster and stronger to increase the cardiac output. Heart beats faster means heart rate increases. Stronger means stroke volume increases. As both are altered, cardiac output also increases. As the cardiac output increased, blood flow increases. This increase in blood flow ultimately increases the amount of oxygen being delivered each minute to the muscles. That means more oxygen goes to the tissues. So fatigue will be delayed. Next important part of working of heart is double circulation. In case of birds and mammals, we find four-chambered heart. In four-chambered heart, there is complete separation of oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. They flow separately through different chambers of heart. Deoxygenated blood flows through right chambers of heart and oxygenated blood flows through left chambers. What is the advantage of presence of two ventricles in our heart? There are two pumps in our circulatory system. Here, as the ventricles are the pumping chambers of heart, the two ventricles, they maintain two different pumps in circulation. Right ventricle pumps blood into pulmonary arch, which carries blood to the lungs for oxygenation, whereas left ventricle pumps blood into systemic arch that finally reaches the different tissues of the body. This is systemic circulation. The two ventricles, they maintain two different pumps. So that is the concept of double circulation. Although heart is a single organ, it can be considered as two pumps that propel blood through two different circuits. In double circulation, blood passes through the heart two times before it is supplied to any particular organ. We'll start our discussion here. This is a body organ except lungs. The deoxygenated blood from a body organ is first collected into the right atrium. From the right atrium, it reaches the right ventricle. Right ventricle pumps the deoxygenated blood to lungs for oxygenation. After oxygenation, the oxygenated blood from lungs is collected into left atrium. From the left atrium, it reaches the left ventricle and pumped to the body parts again. Here, observe the point. The blood started flowing from the body organ. First passes through the right chambers of heart, then supplied to lungs for oxygenation. Then passes through the left chambers of heart. Then only it is supplied to the body parts. That means blood passes through the heart two times before it is supplied to the body organ. This is known as double circulation. In a complete circuit, blood passes twice through the heart. Once through right chambers of heart, then through left chambers. That's why double circulation can be discussed under two headings. Pulmonary circulation. The pumping and collection of blood from the lungs is included in pulmonary circulation, which is also known as lesser circulation. And the second one is systemic circulation. The pumping and collection of blood from the body tissues comes under this systemic circulation. It is also known as greater circulation. First one is pulmonary circulation. Pulmonary means lungs. The flow of blood to and from the lungs is called pulmonary circulation. That means blood is going to the lungs and coming back from the lungs. Which blood vessel takes the blood to lungs? The deoxygenated blood from right ventricle goes to the lungs through the blood vessel known as pulmonary artery. So the blood vessel pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from right ventricle to the lungs. From the lungs, after oxygenation, the oxygenated blood is collected by two pairs of pulmonary veins and it reaches the left atrium. This pathway constitutes the pulmonary circulation or lesser circulation. Which compartments of heart are involved in pulmonary circulation? Right ventricle and left atrium. Right ventricle pumps blood to the lungs through the pulmonary arteries and left atrium collects blood from the lungs through the pulmonary veins. Coming to the significance of pulmonary circulation, blood is supplied to lungs for oxygenation and the circulation brings back the oxygenated blood from the lungs for the distribution. Next one is systemic circulation or greater circulation. Systemic circulation basically means the circulation of blood to and from the body parts. Which blood vessel is taking the blood to body parts and which is taking away the blood from the body parts? the left ventricle pumps oxygenated blood into systemic arch. From this aortic arch, blood is carried through arteries, arterioles and capillaries and finally reaches the tissues. In the body tissues, oxygen is taken from the blood and carbon dioxide is released into the blood. The deoxygenated blood from the tissues is collected by a system of venules, veins and vena cavae and supplied to the right atrium. This is the pathway of circulation. Here, in systemic circulation, left ventricle supplies blood to the body organs through systemic arch, and from the body organs, blood is collected by vena cavae and reaches the right atrium. The chambers of heart involved in systemic circulation are left ventricle and right atrium. Coming to the significance of systemic circulation, it provides nutrients, oxygen and other essential substances to the tissues and collects carbon dioxide and other harmful substances for their elimination. This diagram explains double circulation clearly. These are the four chambers of heart, and the above circulation is pulmonary circulation, lesser circulation. The below one is systemic or greater circulation. Coming to the pulmonary circulation, the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle reaches the lungs through pulmonary artery. From the lungs, oxygenated blood is carried by the pulmonary veins and reaches the left atrium. So pulmonary circulation includes right ventricle, pulmonary arteries, pulmonary veins and left atrium. Coming to the systemic circulation, the oxygenated blood from left ventricle is pumped through the systemic arch and reaches the body organs. From the body organs, blood is collected by the veins and veins drain the blood into right atrium through the vena cavae. So systemic circulation includes left ventricle, systemic arch, vena cavae and right atrium. You observe an interesting point here. Systemic circulation includes right atrium and left ventricle, the opposite chambers. And pulmonary circulation includes right ventricle and left atrium. Next interesting point of this topic is coronary system of blood vessels. What is the meaning of coronary? It is related to the wall of the heart. Circulation of blood to the wall of the heart is known as coronary circulation. Heart supplies blood to each and every tissue of our body by its pumping action. For the pumping purpose, it also needs energy. For the production of energy, the basic requirements are oxygen and nutrients. To meet those requirements, its wall also needs supply of blood. So heart also pumps blood to its own wall. So the supply of blood to the wall of heart is done by the coronary system. The system of blood vessels exclusively meant for the circulation of blood to and from the heart is known as coronary circulation. Coming to the supply of blood to the wall of the heart, one pair of coronary arteries, right and left coronary arteries, arise from the aortic arch just above the semilunar valves. They divide into branches and those branches spread all over the wall of the heart. So coronary arteries supply blood to the wall of the heart and cardiac muscles get oxygen and nutrients through the blood flowing through these coronary arteries. Then venous blood from the wall of the heart is collected by coronary veins. These coronary veins are also known as cardiac veins, these blue colored ones. 4 coronary veins open into coronary sinus. This larger one is the coronary sinus. This coronary sinus brings deoxygenated blood to the right atrium. At the opening of coronary sinus into right atrium, we find sebaceous valve. Finally, the coronary system in humans include the right and left coronary arteries and 4 coronary veins. So the blood is supplied to the wall of the heart through coronary arteries and the deoxygenated blood from the wall of the heart is collected by coronary veins and finally that blood reaches the right atrium. Now we are going to discuss the regulation of cardiac activity. Our heart is myogenic heart. What is the meaning of myogenic heart? The pacemaker is the specialized cardiac muscle which is located within the wall of the heart. So our heart is autorhythmic. Normal activities of our heart are regulated intrinsically. They are regulated by specialized cardiac muscles known as nodal tissues. Two systems control the working of our heart. First, coming to the nervous control of cardiac activity. Which part of our nervous system controls the cardiac activity? It is medulla oblongata, the part of hindbrain, moderates our cardiac function. How can it regulate the heartbeat? This neural center regulates the sinoatrial node, the pacemaker of the heart, through autonomic nervous system. We know the two main divisions of autonomic nervous system. They are sympathetic neural system and parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system shows excitatory and stimulating effect. The neural signals from sympathetic nervous system increase rate of heartbeat, the strength of ventricular contraction, thereby cardiac output increases. These changes generally occur during exercise, stress, to supply more oxygen and nutrients to the tissues. Coming to the parasympathetic nervous system, how can it regulate the heartbeat? It shows inhibiting effect. The neural signals from this parasympathetic system decreases the rate of heartbeat, the strength of ventricular contraction, thereby decreasing the cardiac output. We find these changes during normal conditions to bring back the cardiac activity to normal. So the parasympathetic fibers are present in the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is cardiac inhibitor and sympathetic nerves are cardiac excitators. Next one is endocrine control of cardiac activity, that is hormonal control. Two hormones released by adrenal medulla, the medullary region of adrenal glands, increase the cardiac output. The two hormones are epinephrine and norepinephrine. These two hormones increase the cardiac output. Thyroxine hormone released by the thyroid gland also increases the heart rate and cardiac output. In this way, the cardiac activity is regulated by autonomic nervous system. Parasympathetic neural signals slow down the heartbeat and sympathetic neural signals accelerate the heartbeat. And the hormones released by the adrenal glands increase the heartbeat. Thyroxine also increases the heartbeat. This is the control of cardiac activity, neural control and endocrine control.